gone, but the Bears 94 points left. Great arch rivals, these two clubs, and plenty of key personnel has changed camps, particularly from Norths to Manly, and the Bears didn't like it. Ridge, Hancock, Moore, Hill, Hopewati. Lions, Tuvey, Gillespie, Hasler, Carroll, Menzies. Big Spud Carroll back tonight. Roberts back to the second row. Cunningham locking the scrum. Bob Fulton, the coach. And one of the most underrated wingers in the game, Craig Hancock. Holding at bay some very good talents in reserve grade. Just up in front of the kickoff, let's take a sideline comment.
Still quite warm here. A southerly breeze expected later on in the night.
Okay, Stephen, thank you very much. As Bill Harrigan, the man in charge, blows time on, and the former All Black starts at Matthew Ridge for the Bears to bring it back on the first use of the football, and Fairley is met and driven back. Three of the Manly players driving in defence. And now Jones had a snatch at it, put it down, and Manly comes up with the ball in very good position. They're inside the 20-metre line as Roberts, with that left thigh very heavily bandaged, takes it ahead. Roberts just to the left of the ground, using Carroll, and Carroll goes stampeding towards the line before Fairley puts him down over the top. Hasler goes right, Tuvey is with it, pushes on for Lions, a short ball for Menzies. Menzies pulled down by Sears. Stewart came in with an assist from Ridge. It's with Lions. They cut out Tuvey and go for Cunningham. The pass inside looked dubious. It's with Hasler now. And they're back to the 20-metre line. Good defence by the Bears. Florimo the tackler. Tuvey now, a dummy half. Carroll looms up, takes it. Standing still at the time, though. That's the 10-metre line in front of him. 5 tackles gone. For the kick now, for Lions to go up and across. Back for the winger on the left. It came off Manly's Hopewati. So it'll be a turnover for the Bears just inside their 10-metre line.
And plenty of pressure there for the Bears. They handled it well. A great tackle on the far side from Matt Sears after a missed tackle from Taylor. And then Florimo came up with a very solid one centre field. Both teams will be looking not to give away penalties early in this game. A couple of sharpshooters out there in Matthew Ridge and Jason Taylor. Already they're 80% this season, and that won't go down with the amount of games left to play.
Gavin Jones is tackled on the 30-metre line. No score. 2 minutes of the game gone. One of the season's big matches here tonight. Friday night football on the 9 network around Australia. Played by Moore, given by Soden, across with a kick for Taylor. Taylor bounces it down on the 30-metre line for John Hopewati. Hopewati swarmed over by the North Sydney Bears. That player in the headgear is Nigel Roy as they go to the right for the Lions to give on for Danny Moore. And Jones is there with 27. It's an uncustomary number, isn't it, for David Fairley? Now it's Des Hasler. Ooh, good tackle. Picked him up nicely, Stewart. He's been strong for the Bears right through the challenge and the start of the Winfield Cup. Gillespie angled across, or crabbed across the ground. Terry Hill is put down. Crowd of probably in the vicinity of 21,000. Their intention was to close the gates at 21 for safety purposes. Carroll plays it now. No score, early minutes of the big clash, the north of the harbour clash. And Nigel Roy, he put a hand on that. It was a very tentative take. He's tackled, though, 15 out from his line by Danny Moore. As Sears calls for a quick play of the ball. Taylor pushes the ball across to the left. And Cleary. Ivan Cleary is tackled 20 metres out from his own line. Playing his last season with the Bears. He's heading for the Roosters next year. The 4 is Toshak. So they've got a very youthful pair of centres here. Cleary and Toshak. Back now, and a sprint from Stewart. Hits it up, straight and hard. Cunningham is there with Roberts. They put him down, and that's the 30-metre line.
And as in this game last year, some big hits out there. As a bad pass from dummy half, cleaned up by Florimo. Owen Cunningham has been outstanding in these early minutes. Came up with the first tackle of the game. He's been very solid. A couple of players from North Sydney already looking at him and Gillespie in defence.
Very purposeful kick from Jason Taylor. Very good kicker of the ball as Ridge plays. Oh, mistake by Manly. So they give up possession to the Bears in good field position. So that's a little bit of tit for tat. And the player that made the mistake, he doesn't make too many. That might be the last you'll see this year. Craig Hancock.
Unusual for Craig Hancock, a very good winger with the Manly team. But it's what, when you put a kick down in the opposing half, it's what you pray for is a mistake. And Manly have come up with one. North's in a good position now. Good forward battles out there, aren't they? With Ian Roberts, he's carrying a lot of strapping, Ian Roberts. One round his left thigh and one round his right knee.
Now this is the blood bin for David Hall. There's David taken away by the North Sydney trainers, a gash in the scalp. As the scrum, the loose head and feed goes to North Sydney. The mistake made by Manly, 32 metres away from the Manly line. Beautiful night in Sydney. We're on the end of what has been a marvellous week of weather. And Toshak is tackled in the centre of the park. One of Sydney's very nice sporting venues. North Sydney Oval, playing host tonight to Manly and Norths. Third round of the Winfield Cup, 30 metres out. Taylor now starts to put it together, and Larson runs into a hell of a tackle from David Gillespie. Not a good pass time. Taylor goes to the left and then comes back. Soden gets away from Cunningham. Fairley turns it back for the angled run. Cleary loses it behind him. Harrigan agrees with that call. 5.5 gone, no score. Soden sneaks up on the blind side, and that was a battle of the two Davids, with Sode finding a way to get under the tackle of Jeff Tuvey. A high bomb, a chance for the Bears, taken by Ridge.
Great take there from Matthew Ridge, a very good kick, and he got good support from his fellow players. Craig Hancock getting in front of the man catching the football along with other troops, and that made the job a little bit easier. There you see Lyons coming in late as well to help.
So it's Manly now, 15 metres away from their line. This is Hancock getting it right this time on the 20-metre line. Hasler is the number 9. A little bit of misunderstanding there, although Carroll took it out very strongly. Hasler again, still, I would imagine, cutting his teeth in the role of dummy half play. Ridge's kick going towards the line, but Roy is going to take it back. Unlike a lot of wingers, they tend to let it go, but Roy took it back and ran into Owen Cunningham. A pat on the rump there from Roberts for him, saying good tackle, OJ. Taylor now into the arms of Matt Sears, coming in, and Carroll and Hasler got a bit tangled up there. I don't know whether Carroll's okay or not. He's stayed down. It comes across now for Florimo to put a step in off the right foot. He doesn't get through the gap. Carroll is still down, and now Harrigan gives a penalty to the North Sydney Bears.
Yes, he's penalised Danny Moore for holding down on the tackle.
Tangled up, and Mark Carroll certainly did that, with Sears falling across his leg and Hasler getting tied up in it as well. But here's an awful mistake.
Well, Nigel Roy's had a pretty unhappy start to this game. I think that the opposition will target this winger. In fact, we've seen 3 kicks from Manly and they've all come his way. Well, that's just, it's reserve grade stuff.
Well, in the Olympic class of mistakes, that's just got the gold. Champion mistake.
Champion mistake.
Jody Rudd has come on in 16 on the far side of the park to take the wing position of David Hall, who's in the blood bin, as Tuvey prepares to feed.
We've seen a couple of mistakes in this game that just show the urgency involved, as Danny Moore tackled 30 out centre field. Was the one from Hancock on the far side, just looking to get out of dummy half a little bit quicker than he should have. On that occasion, Roy trying to get play started, took his eye off the football, so the technique out the window.
So Lyons it is, across. Great break made by Terry Hill. Hancock now takes it down towards the North Sydney 30-metre line.
Yeah, great ball by Lyons, but Hill didn't look on the outside. Hancock was unmarked.
Lyons goes back now to look at that blind side once more. Tuvey is put away. 25 out from the line as it comes from Terry Hill through Lyons. A shocking pass. Hasler on. Ridge goes back. Lyons runs round. Now they're going backwards to go forwards. Roberts is with it, and Roberts is put on the turf 30 metres out from the North Sydney line. The big man plays it. They come across for Ridge. A grubbing kick, looking for Hopewadi, but it's with Nigel Roy, who'll be put away just outside the 10-metre line.
I don't think there's a great deal of doubt that Craig Hancock should have scored in the far corner. It was a pretty simple task for Terry Hill, really just to pick up his wingman, as Paul pointed out. He was unmarked. And with that kind of start, I don't think they'd have stopped him. That's a let-off for the Bears.
North Sydney now working it out again to the 30-metre line. Head-to-head clashes between these two clubs reveals that Manly hold the better of it. They hold the balance of power at 59 wins over 37. That's how it looks, and at North Sydney Oval, 27-20 victories by Manly over North Sydney since 1947, when Manly entered the competition. So this is, in fact, 99 matches they've played. Thought we actually had their centenary last year, so maybe there's a match missing there somewhere. As Hopewadi gets around the outside of Roy, tries to put the fend on, not held in the tackle by Ivan Cleary, and is tackled now 35 metres out from the North line. Menzies wants it at first receiver. He gives the ball on. It's out for Cliff Lyons on the 40-metre line. Terry Hill is there. Toshak comes up. Lyons supports. Strolls into a gap and then takes it down to the 30-metre line where Sears makes the tackle. In fact, they've done better than that. They're inside the 30. Tuvey now pops it back for Gillespie, and he's held there by Billy Moore. Again, Manly opening North Sydney up, and here's Carroll now, met by Fairley and put away. 15 away from the line. To the right for Lyons to use that cross kick again. Danny Moore, a tall man, goes up for it. Tuvey got it away. Menzies is with it. Hopewadi puts it down. Bill Harrigan will order the turnover to North Sydney.
Oh, they look great with the football, Manly. Cliff Lyons is having a field day, setting up his supports. He just made a break himself there. Hopewadi down the left wing. He left Nigel Roy posted. He's a much improved winger, Hopewadi. He's bided his time in the lower grades for a couple of seasons, but Coach Fulton's given him his chance, and he's having a good year.
11 1/4 minutes gone. No score. In the corresponding match last year, again, it was a low score by modern-day standards, 11-8. And they got away with that. Here's North now finding an opening. They're down to the halfway line. Played back for Mark Soden to give on. Jason Taylor is with it. And now across for Florimo to kick and chase. Hopewadi has to turn. Manly, it's the 5th tackle. I thought they might have got a touch. Bill Harrigan said no. Dangerously long pass. It was lofted. Then they put it down. Moore scoops it back. And Jones has to kick. Up and down in the one spot almost. The bounce came off the legs of Matthew Ridge. Dived on by Hasler. It is play on. The problem is there for Ian Roberts, slow to rise. Tuvey now. Crowd groans as though there might have been a high tackle on Jeff Tuvey. This is Hancock doing a bit of weaving out towards the 30-metre line. And now taking it out is Owen Cunningham. He's 35 metres out from his own line. It's Manly now. Work it back towards the halfway mark for a kick. Then it'll be their turn to work on North Sydney to see if they can force a mistake. There's been plenty of them on offer. The Ridge kick stands up and then rolls back to the 10-metre line. Sears comes away, running over towards the other wing over there where Jody Rudd was to be, but I'm sure that's David Hall back with us now. David is back on. Jody has gone off again.
I'm still waiting really for both teams to settle down. You know, if you had to pick the team that was just maybe had the ascendancy early in this game, it is Manly. Quite a few mistakes, as Ray has pointed out. And there's a problem for Mark Soden, who's got plenty of punishment early in this game. They haven't missed him running from dummy half. As Jason Taylor throws the cutout pass, looks like Josh Stewart too wide of the ruck.
Nigel Roy at dummy half gave a pass behind Gary Larson, the big man. He shouldn't be expected to have to turn and catch. There's enough trouble in front of you when you're a forward taking it up on a power run like this. He has to go back, take his eyes off the defence, and he puts it down.
That's the sort of pressure game this is. I memean, simple mistakes have been made tonight, just simple drop passes. Credit goes to Bill Harrigan too. He's let the game flow on, only the one penalty so far, and he's you want to watch his 10-metre zone. A few of the players creeping up inside that 10-metre zone.
So here's Danny Moore using the decoy provided by Roberts. He's tackled on the 30-metre line. Hasler's got plenty of players on the blind. Menzies was one of them. Ridge was another. And Ridge is tackled just beyond the 20-metre line. Manly with the big back line off to the right. And Tuvey it is who supplies the ball for Cunningham. Cunningham crouching, looking to unload. But Larson has different ideas. Hasler now, again to the right. Lyons turns it back into the centre. Gillespie did well. Hasler promotes the ball for Menzies. Menzies tries to get between them, but he's put away over the top by Stewart on 5. And 10 metres out from the line. That's how close they are. With Lyons, a ball on the half volley. Back for Ridge. The sting might have gone out of it. He keeps it low. David Hall, it came off his hands once, twice. And it'll be a line drop out to restart.
Oh, great kick by Matthew Ridge. A well thought out kick. He could have put it high, but he saw that the defensive line of North had come up. So he snuck that little one in there behind the line. And the bounce was always going to fool David Hall, and good pressure by Hancock.
Manly keeping up the pressure. They've held most of the aces so far. There was a blight on the North Sydney side, though, that they found themselves in trouble because it was a huge punctuation mark in the Manly attack brought about by a bad pass from dummy half. Ridge to play it now.
I'd have been a bit disappointed if I was Mark Carroll there. He had a steam wound up as Ian Roberts has here. Matthew Ridge decided to run the football himself. Long way for the big man to travel for no result.
Hasler now gets the call to come the blind side for Gillespie, who then again unloads. Carroll gets it away. Tuvey is with it on the 20-metre line. Lyons now look for the long pass. It's out for Hill. Hill steps off the right. Looks to unload. He was there offering it, looking for support. He's 12 metres out. Hasler goes to the blind side. Hancock is with him. And Hasler takes the tackle. Played over there. Terry Hill sweeps the pass. Lyons is with it. Tuvey is there. Again a bad pass. He dives on it. That is 5, says Harrigan. Florimo makes the tackle. This is the last. It's with Lyons. Looking back in the middle. Gillespie goes for whatever speed he can find. Gets the pass away. Hasler for the line. Held up. Gets it down. That's a try. Jubilation for Cliffy Lyons and Des Hasler. Desi Hasler actually hurdles into the North Sydney defence.
And I think the North Sydney defence was a little bit lazy close to the ruck. I think it might have been David Fairley. They continued. There you see the hole that opened up. One of the North players actually tripped over. Gillespie kept the ball alive magnificently, and Desi Hasler pinned the ears back, saw that there was a chance, and nothing was going to stop him getting over the
defence. A desperation pass to Desi. He takes off like Red Rum. Over he goes, and a try. Well done, Des.
Oh, he's got another run, Red Rum.
Oval, where the scoreboard is not favouring the home side. They haven't been away from here this year, and Manly hasn't been at home, but North Sydney's scoreboard has not had them in deficit so far until now. And that was brought about by a try on the other side of the break by Des Hasler, after great lead-up work by David Gillespie. And here's a penalty going to Manly. North inside the 10. 6-0 after 19 minutes. As Ridge finds the line. The tap will be taken now by Des Hasler, the try scorer. Carroll goes ahead. Now across the face of Cunningham for Gillespie again. Then he gets it off for Tuvey. And Tuvey takes a very strong tackle from Sears. What about the game Gillespie is having? Here's Lyons now, calling players around him. Cunningham out the back. Hill is with the ball. Can he unload? He takes the tackle, and that's the try line in front of him. Terry Hill plays it back. Hasler sweeps it away. Lyons cuts out Ridge. It's with Tuvey. Knocked down by North, was it? Picked up by Lyons. Harrigan didn't restart it, so it's play on for Manly. And Hopewadi is held, and he'll be made to play at 18 metres out from the line. Lyons a dummy half. They use Roberts. Roberts will look to unload. He does. He shovels it down, Ridge away, a bad pass for Tuvey. Then across from Carroll. Menzies is running inside the 20-metre line. Hill comes back in, beats one, stands in another. Looking to unload, he couldn't. The last tackle. Ridge, Tuvey, Lyons. Tuvey on the runaround. The grubbing kick came off a bear and came down into the arms there of Matt Sears for North Sydney.
Well, the Bears have been under siege all of this game. And the only player that's really keeping them in it is their fullback, Matt Sears. He has come up with some crucial tackles at the right time. He sniffs out the danger, gets up, and comes up with the tackle. This time he gets on the rebound kick. He seems to be in the right place all the time.
Competing in the forward battle, it's Manly leading 40-love, isn't it? They're just running right through this North Sydney pack. The North Sydney pack's got some great names in it. Fairley, Larson, Moore, Jones, and Roberts and Co are just carving them up.
And what it's doing, Paul, as Jason Taylor kicks on the last, is allowing the likes of Jeff Tuvey and Cliff Lyons a little bit of room and space. The Bears in defence really looking at the support players that Lyons and Tuvey are trying to pick up. And that's just creating all sorts of problems.
I don't think I've seen Cement Gillespie play this well for a long time. He's having an enormous game. As Danny Moore succumbs to the North Sydney defence, 40 metres out from his own line.
What about this forward battle? Blocker being out-muscled at the moment, the Bears?
Yeah, it's been sensational. Yeah, they are being out-muscled at the moment. Cement's got a little bit of help in Mark Carroll and Roberts. Menzies took a bit of a knock, which Jones got a caution for a little while earlier, so he's obviously a marked man. But Desi Hasler making plenty of yards from dummy half.
Steve Menzies wouldn't be the first young kangaroo blocker to come back and find that it's a bit tougher back here with everybody spotting you on your return.
Yeah, I think it's just that the other blokes in his side today, the likes of Carroll and Gillespie, are getting in and doing the work.
Absolutely.
And he's got a skirt out wide.
Absolutely, as we find Ridge now keeping it low and driving it down into that bottom corner. Normally they roll away there very quickly. David Hall was back and he came back to be tackled about 5 metres out from his line. Now it's with Matthew Sears, and he's tackled. Former St Gregory's Campbelltown youngster, a product of that great school, as was Jason Taylor, as a matter of fact, and here's Ivan Cleary now put away. 20-metre line on screen as Larson runs into a shoulder, and I think he wishes he hadn't. It was Gillespie again. Larson, his head sat right back. Now Fairley tries to drag himself away from a tackle. 23 minutes coming up on the clock. And Manly 6-0 as Taylor kicks it and keeps it fairly low. Hopewadi deciding to take it away from the 30-metre line. Nigel Roy and Ivan Cleary make the tackle. So a great start for Manly. They threatened to score. They had plenty of opportunities, and eventually they did that. Hasler now playing it back for Ridge off the 40-metre line. It's with Menzies. Menzies has Fairley around the legs and Soden over the top. Looking at the tackle count, the sum total, Norths have been made to make 90 tackles to Manly 71. And that, of course, is taking petrol out of the tank. Roberts, 40-metre line, North's end of the park. They come across to the left for Tuvey now. And Tuvey, he gets through, Tuvey, breaks down to the 20-metre line. Here's Lyons now around Nigel Roy easily and puts it down. Almost looks back and laughs at the opposition. So easy was it that Tuvey, he was through like a hot knife through butter.
Well, they're talking about Langer and Stewart having great starts to the season. But they're playing no better than this man here, Jeff Tuvey. Puts a move on David Fairley. No problems, a left foot step. A little bit lazy coming across on the inside was Gavin Jones. Drew Matt Sears, got Cliff Lyons on the inside. He was able to wrong foot Nigel Roy. Very simple try there, but it's been set up by the course of the play in this first 20 minutes.
North look like they're out on their feet. They look a half a metre behind everything Manly are doing. Tuvey, I thought Lyons had messed up here. I thought he should have put the head down and gone straight for it, but he knew what he was doing. Poor old Nigel on the wing then. He's having a Barry, Nigel. And Cliffy's made mincemeat of him.
Thanks, Paul. Ridge now. That's what he's got. And look at the accuracy of the man. Great kicker. Manly are doing it easily here. They're comfortable, aren't they, at 12-6 from the restart. And Craig Wilson has gone on to take the place of Mark Soden. it might be worthy to recall that when they sent Wilson into the game last time they met here in the corresponding game, that's when North started to really get into the game. Jason Taylor was having trouble finding breaks, and now Craig Wilson is into the game again. It'll be interesting to see if he has the same impact as Ridge, with a mile of time, sends it down for Sears to come away. Sears is tackled 12 metres out from his line. 26.5 minutes gone. 12-0 Manly. Nigel Roy, held by Roberts and Hasler, former Illawarra player, made the trip up the coast with Jody Rudd to join the Bears this year. And I guess in their mind, both of them, I suppose, is the thought that Ivan Cleary won't be here next year, so there'll be a job there for somebody. Good tackle then on Josh Stewart. It really shook him up, although the tackler didn't come out of it all that brilliantly either, Stephen Menzies. Jason Taylor is tackled now, with the Bears working it back to halfway, and the kick from Craig Wilson goes out on the full. Well, he's made less than an auspicious entry into the game. Sideline comment from the big fella.
Yeah, Ray, I'd like to get Fatty's comment. For mine, Craig Wilson is probably the best attacking forward that North Sydney has got. They're playing at dummy half.
Well, I suppose from there he can organise things for them, drifting out from that play the ball area. But they really need some more go forward. They've got to play down in Manly's half. They haven't been down there territory-wise. It's been all the Eagles.
I guess the alternatives to Craig Wilson, a dummy half, were just as difficult for Peter Louis to decide on at the spur of the moment. Menzies now. Menzies through a brittle defence. Oh, shut the gate. We've got a problem on our hands here. The Bears are in big trouble.
They are in all sorts of trouble. Simple missed tackles. That time it wasn't one player, it was two. Jason Taylor and Josh Stewart just could not contain this back rower. Stephen Menzies has amazing acceleration. Hasler out of dummy half, keeps the ball alive. Lyons picks up Menzies, absolutely nothing on. But he's able to keep the legs pumping. Defenders left grasping. Good measure, carried two players over in the corner.
You just don't score tries from here, do you, Steve Menzies? I mean, he's got the ball. He's got 1,800 North Sydney players in front of him. And look at them all. The arms, they're groping. It's a grape-a-thon. He's just brushed them all aside. That's a fantastic try to Steve Menzies.
It was actually the momentum took him over the line. He was grounded a metre out and slid across. I thought they might have been thinking field goal to go in at half-time, maybe 13 up, but the way they're playing, the Seagulls, I think they expect to score each time they touch the football down this end of the field.
And Pete, you know why Manly had the ball inside North's danger zone? Because once again a North Sydney mistake that they put it out in the full from their kick.
Incredible career is unfolding in the shape of Stephen Menzies. 18 career tries. That doesn't include his kangaroo tries. Ridge now. He clips the 700 at his previous conversion, and here comes another one, sweetly sailing over the red and black bar. Master at work. You might have seen a couple of Manly supporters almost genuflecting as Ridge piloted that kick over the bar. 18-0. So 18-0 represents a very steep hill for Norths to climb. Is there anybody brave enough to say they can't climb it at this point in time?
Oh no, this might be one of those games where it's a tale of two halves. It's been all mainly the first half, and Peter Louis, he'll be working overtime during the break to try and, you know, organise a new game plan for them. A simple game plan that is. The two fellas who, in my mind, have done all the damage for the Manly side, but they just got to have time down in Manly's danger zone. They haven't had that.
Well, I tipped them, Ray, but also they can't climb the mountain. I think the Seagulls are... This is one of their best performances I've seen in a long, long time. There's not a player out there who isn't playing close to their best of their ability.
Yeah.
They've got a couple of changes. Well, as soon as you wrap them, they come up with a mistake.
And this is the sort of mistake that Norths have been looking for now. They've got the ball. They're 40 metres out from Manly's line. What can they do?
Bill Harrigan calling for the ball himself to give North Sydney a chance to have a quick play of the ball. Kosef is on. Hormano is on. That's for Gillespie and Carroll, who you saw sitting on the bench.
And Tony Hearn played the football for North. He's on in 29. As Taylor goes to the line, steps, can't beat the tackle. Is it Cunningham coming across?
15 metres out from the line. This is the first time that I can recall North's inside the 20-metre line. Florimo held it back, and North Sydney will play it 12 metres out from the line. A chance for them as they go across for Taylor to come back, and Billy Moore goes back in behind the play of the ball. But though it hasn't been tested all that often, Manly's defence holding tight. The penalty goes to the Bears. Harrigan giving a stern warning there to, I think it was Matthew Ridge. Across now, and Taylor with a short pass for Tony Hearn, and driven back. Good tackle, Stephen Menzies. Back they come to the right now with Craig Wilson with the number 11 shirt on. He was chosen in the original side. And that's the try line up in the top right-hand corner as Taylor runs to the line, holds it back, fairly got it out the back. It might have been touched by Manly. It's come down to them anyway. So obviously Bill Harrigan doesn't agree with that. Tuvey is tackled now. He's had a fine game. The ball comes out, and a penalty goes to Manly.
And that's poor play. Complete lack of discipline there when you've got a team possibly a chance to get tied down in their own zone. And it looks like he did nothing, actually. The ball just popped loose.
Yeah, there is some frustration out there for the Bears at the moment. Oh, there's a mistake by Terry Hill. The ball comes out, so a chance here. They must score before half-time for mine, the Bears, if they are any possibility in this game.
33 minutes of the match gone, and here they are now, working it back to the 30-metre line, centre of the park. Florimo dummy half, and then with Taylor. Larson with him, and now Larson tackled by Lyons. He tries to get up and play it quickly, Larson. Now it's away from Stewart. No, it's not. He goes himself. Back now and across from Cleary. Taylor pushes it on. Florimo holds it back. Then Wilson gives it. More then, and away for Toshak. Toshak is to play it now on the far side of the ground, just inside the 20-metre line. Away from Florimo. Taylor again, looking for the runner, which in this case was Matt Sears, and he's put down by Hormano. Wilson. Taylor. Goes to the air this time, out of frustration, and goes through and makes the tackle. Matt Sears. So that will come, well, he's going to make it a line dropout.
He's saying that Matthew Rich caught the football in the field. The player was driven back by Sears. Let's have a look at when Sears arrives. Is he too... Gee, I think he's almost a touch too early. He didn't play at the football at all.
This will show us better.
He's hit him before the ball's arrived.
Penalty to Manly.
Jason Taylor kicked in, and nobody knew the kick was on. And the big difference between the two sides at the moment is that every time Taylor gets the football, Manly are going to him and the support players. When Tuvey and Lyons have got the football, they're only worrying about the outside people.
This is Fairley now, taking it back and turning it inside for Wilson. The 20-metre line is just in front of him. Taylor. Larson. Sydney have been on the end of a very, very professional performance from Manly in this first half. Trailing 18-0. As Taylor works the run around, and then the face ball over for Cleary to work with Sears, or is that Toshak? Toshak it is. Sears is the dummy half. 29 is Hearn. Sears, a quick pass for Taylor to give Wilson. Wilson tries to put Stewart through the gap. They're within 8 metres of the line, and this is the last. Taylor goes from the left of the ground to the blind side. Fairley puts it on the boot, and Manly come away with it.
There seemed to be a bit of a mix-up there on the last play as well. You don't want David Fairley with the football from the dummy half. It's got to go to Jason Taylor. He was coming from the left side of the field to the right. The dummy half didn't know what was going on. All of a sudden, Fairley couldn't get a kick into the in-goal area, which is what they needed there. They needed another set of 6. Ball bounced off Roberts into the arms of one of his players.
3 tries in the game, all scored by Manly, as Roberts is able to avoid It was meant to be a strong tackle. Cunningham is now to play it. Across now for Roberts once more. His second involvement on this set of 6. Terry Hill. Almost out to the 20-metre line. 5 tackles gone. And with Ridge on the blind side to clear. The ball going down for Sears. Coming away from his own 20-metre line, he calls Nigel Roy in as a decoy and then uses Ivan Cleary. Everywhere North Sydney goes, Manly, it appears, has already read their mail. Wilson. Tuvey and Hill there to put him down. 10 metres short of the halfway mark. Well, I wonder what price you could have got about this scoreboard at half-time. Big odds, I would suggest. As the Bears through Tony Hearn, they did well. Florimo was there. Tried to capitalise on the half chance. He'll play it 42 metres away from the Manly line. Taylor is there once more. But everything Jason has tried has been met by a brick wall. They've got their act together, Manly. Sears, a high kick. Ridge underneath it. Not a great deal of pressure applied to him either. North Sydney chasers were more hoping for a mistake than contesting the kick. Moore now, smothered away by Larson, and also Moore. Half-time now, just a couple of minutes away. Roberts out the back and away from Hermano, for Lyons, and then for Menzies. Menzies, one of the try scorers. Hasler, another. That is John Hopewati, practically on the halfway line. For Hermano, he had to reach down extravagantly. Lyons, the other try scorer, in the Manly treble of tries in the first half. And they came after a very tight first 11 minutes, but then the gates opened and Norths couldn't close them. Sears wrapped up by Hill and Tuvey, back inside the 10-metre line. That is Toshak. Wilson. Dummy half runs, taking them away from the danger zone. Sears in there at that position once more. They lost Soden. I'm not sure on his condition or whether it's serious. Steve Roach will undoubtedly check that for us as Sears comes away from the play the ball area and Taylor is there to support, but he has been smothered out of it by Menzies. Jason gives me the impression he would dearly love to have another metre or so of speed, particularly in a game against Manly. Ridge.
Well, they're making him play, Manly. They're forcing him into early decisions. The last thing that a ball player wants is to have to come up with a decision before he's ready. And that's what I'm trying to point out with Lyons and Tuvey. They've got time. At the moment, North Sydney seem to be rushing everything. But the feeling is they're playing catch-up football. They shouldn't be worrying about the 18. They've just got to get their game together and see what unfolds.
Well, am I right in suggesting that Lyons and Tuvey have had that platform of time made available by the good work up front from the forward?
No doubt. No doubt. They're all around the ballpark. They're just doing everything right. Very few errors from Manly. The line breaks will definitely favour them at the half-time break.
Well, there is the half-time break, Peter. You're quite right. It's Manly leading North Sydney 18-0. 3 tries have been scored by the Eagles under the leadership of young Jeff Tuvey. He's had a fine game. None was better than David Gillespie, though. 18-0 at half-time. There's not too many smiles on the faces of... So North Sydney trailing 18 points to 0 as we welcome you back to North Sydney Oval. Taylor gets us going. Carroll has first feel of the football in the second half. Hasler a dummy half, and then this is Cunningham, who from a distance sometimes can look like a miniature David Gillespie. A couple of players that you've got to take a couple of looks at. Terry Hill now. Cunningham on camera there for a brief moment. Now Tuvey Goes back in behind the play the ball, but Moore is there. Taylor takes a concerned look at Moore. As Big Roberts strides up and gets through almost, and then back for Cunningham Crowley. Touched by the Bears. 6 more tackles. And now it's played on the 40-metre line. Straight away Manly on the attack. And Gillespie has not failed to get a pass away when in traffic. Carroll now goes to ground. So what was 6 tackles has been converted into 12 if they want it. Tuvey, cross for Lyons. Lyons double pumps the ball, and then Menzies gets it back for Hasler. Hasler driven down. 20-metre line, so still a couple of tackles left for the Manly side. That represents danger for North Sydney. Still no hand in the air from Harrigan, so they must be getting close to the end of this set. Across now for Tuvey to go out the back, and this is Terry Hill. Terry Hill gets his pass away. It was knocked back by Toshak and picked up by one of his colleagues who goes away. It is Toshak with the ball. David Hall. Such was the style of the game in that first half that David did not touch the ball according to the stats. Thought he might have had 1 touch on it. But it certainly wasn't a game for a North Sydney winger the first 40 minutes.
I asked Paddy at half-time what he thought what Peter Louis would be saying. I think Bob Fulton, delighted with the first 40 minutes. Would be very keen for his team just to continue that style of play, not get carried away, not throw silly passes for the sake of throwing the passes. That kick finds touch on the full. Second time tonight, the Bears have kicked out. That time Mark Soden was guilty. This time it was Wilson. Not long after the Wilson kick out, only run in try.
Well, talking about what was Peter Louis saying, I don't know how close Blocker got to him. What were you able to find out from either room, Steve?
Yeah, well, Peter thinks that his Norths have been shown a footballing lesson. They're beaten in all facets of the game, all over the park. He said their inside defence is too slow moving. They've got to move up quicker. They must stop the ball carrier. David Gillespie mentioned in the Norths room, he's the one that keeps offloading the football, as you said. And for the Manly, look, Norths will do anything in this game. There was a gas leak in the Manly dressing room. That's why they were on the field. And as you said, the thing that Bob Fulton was pleased with the most was their great defence. He said, look, target Cleary and Toshak out wide. You're carving him up to Terry Hill. He said, you know, big raps for the forwards. He thought they were outstanding, and he wants his side to go on with it.
Well, that's the most novel way I've heard of a club trying to win a football match. They've turned the gas on in the Manly room to try and gas them out of it.
Still didn't help.
Maybe you're in there, Blocker, were you? Was that the gas leak?
Well, they wouldn't have come back second half.
Well, Bobby Saunders, I give you 100 out of 100 for that, son. That's a ripper. Turn the gas jets on. We might get them that way. Taylor across, Florimo. Professional handoff there for Stewart. Talking of a match that wasn't made for wingers, it hasn't really been made for any of the North Sydney backs. And you see Greg Florimo and the skills that he's got, but he hasn't been able to display. The Manly have just shut them out. Larson plays it now, the 5th tackle. Taylor going across to support the backline play. Wilson drops it onto the feet, but Hopewadi came across, and then Ridge was there. And now a little bit of a jostle up. A push to and fro. Tuvey and Taylor having a bit of a disagreement too, the 2 number 7s. Notoriously, though, they're cranky men, aren't they, the 7s, Fats?
Yeah, they're all cranky. They can't hold them up either. Remember some famous jousts, Sterling up against Mortimer. Shocking, embarrassing.
Battle of the noses.
That was the reason they didn't exchange blows. They couldn't get close enough to each other.
You'd have won, Sterling.
Well, there was a knock on there from Manly, so a chance for the Bears with Taylor feeding on the 20-metre line. Orimo picks up Toshak. They don't make any ground centre field.
So Larson finds himself at dummy half. It's been an area that must be a problem for Peter Louis. Larson now across, but they're doing plenty of passing. There might be a chance on. Toshak unloads. Sears comes in. David Hall for the corner.
Great covering defence there by Mark Carroll, the big prop over in the corner.
Now it's with Hearn. Back across for Soden, and then Taylor. And quick passing back for Wilson. Then Moore. Moore, though, is put away. Tuvey makes the tackle together with Ridge. That's the 10-metre point. As it comes back from Taylor, and this is Wilson. Then it's Stewart. Stewart is tackled. The line only a few metres in front of them. The Bears trying to get some points on the board. Billy Moore driven into the ground. Good tackle. Menzies was one of them, but a penalty has gone to the Bears. So Soden scurries in to take a quick play, a quick tap. He does that. Taylor now. Back it comes for Wilson. Wilson looking for the gap. Elusive as it may be. Tackled by Terry Hill. Now Stewart again. Forced back. Tuvey was one of them. Hasler another. Soden calling on a quick play the ball, which is not forthcoming. And Taylor spears it across through Florimo and Toshack. Now Sears. He's trying to find an opening out there on the far side of the ground. Nigel Roy lets Hearn go and then tries to make the break himself. 10 metres out from the Manly line. Soden scurries away to be met by Cliffy Lyons on the 5th tackle. From Nigel Roy to Jason Taylor. The kick high and across the ground. It came off David Hall and forced by Tuvey. Interesting to see which way he rules here. He's going to make a line drop of it. And Tuvey blows up. I got the impression it was propelled forward by North Sydney.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that. Jeff Tuvey is livid. So too a couple of the other Manly players. No cracks in the armour there at all. Seagulls, it comes off David Hall's shoulder. Cleaned up by Jeff Tuvey. Matthew Ridge is having a fine game, but there's one thing he needs to get out of his performance, and that's running up after a penalty is awarded against his team and trying to stop the opposition from getting the quick restart. It's a professional foul, and he's done it 3 occasions tonight.
Very interesting point, that replay. If we're convinced that it came off the torso or the shoulder of the North Sydney player, he's ruled no knock on by David Hall, which seems like a tough call. They have propelled the ball forward. Tuvey dives on it to clean up, and he forces himself into a line dropout. It's a crazy rule, really. Larson plays it now just outside the 20-metre line. A chance again for the Bears as Taylor's pass comes off the legs of Florimo and Manly come up with it. Well, that's not the last time you're going to see North make a mistake under pressure, because they've got themselves in the melting pot, having to push the pass, catch up football. Lions using Hopawati.
The North players down receiving attention in the background there, so it's a 12-man line at the moment for the Bears. It's Tony Hearn slow up as Gillespie spins, gets the ball away, cleaned up by Danny Moore, who beats another tackle before finally being tackled 38 from his own line.
And Tony Hearn is not quite sure where he is, and I just looked at the trainer off camera signalling he's got to get out of here, this fella. On the halfway line, Lyons launches another attack. Menzies gets away from one, stands in a second, gets it back. Danny Moore is with it, 32 metres out. 5 tackles gone for Manly, leading 18-0, 3 tries to nothing. Lyons across now for Ridge into the back line. He puts on a sprint, comes out the other side. Tuvey is with it, and he is hit by the defence. And that is the turnover. So they tried to put the ball through the hands, and it nearly paid off.
Nearly paid off. Matthew Ridge, he's looking very sharp this season. He doesn't make many breaks in games, but he made one then. And Tuvey was well read by David Hall, who snuffed out the chance that Ridge had created. Good work by Hall to come in there.
That's the problem with playing Craig Wilson a little bit wide. Doesn't have the speed of opposition backs. Gary Larson got fended off on the inside as Greg Florimo is some metres in the middle of the ruck. There's a bet to try and get a roll on here. Taylor's got support. David Hall nowhere to go, so he heads infield.
35 metres out now from the Manly line. No change in the score, 18-0 as it comes across now and dropped onto the foot by Craig Wilson and over the dead ball line. So back to the 20 for the restart. Sunday's match that you'll see at 6:30 in Sydney, Illawarra and Brisbane at Steeler Stadium. I think it'd be a good idea if you're going to the stadium. Here's Menzies making another break. He strides out down inside the 30-metre line, eventually rounded up in the defence. Hasler a dummy half, and the penalty goes to Manly against the Bears for holding down. Hasler with a quick tap. Lyons is there, looking for his back line, dummied to Tuvey and gave it to Hill. Soden underneath, Wilson over the top. And Tuvey goes for a run from dummy half himself. There they are, just 18 metres out from the line. They might be thinking about field goal. It's obviously going to put them 4 tries or 4 scoring opportunities away from North Sydney. Maybe their confidence is so high they'll go for the try. But here's Tuvey now, back to the 10-metre line and slammed back into the turf. That would be 4, I would imagine. Tuvey slowly to play. Hasler away now. Lyons seem to have an age to run. Moore goes slicing back, and that is 5. Hasler back. Here's the drop goal now, charged down by the Bears. They get it back, fortunately for them. And 15 metres out from his own line, Florimo plays it.
You're spot on, Ray, with the field goal, but I'm surprised that they didn't give Matthew Ridge a kick
early.
When the penalty was awarded, I don't think there's any doubt he would have put it dead. As you point out, it's a big advantage to be more than 3 converted tries in front. And now North Sydney work it out from their own territory. As Billy Moore spins out of a tackle, under one from Roberts, before Cunningham and Hasler combine.
I was making the point earlier, I think if you're going to the stadium at Wollongong on Sunday, you better get there early, because that's going to be a bumper crowd. It'll be a sensational game. Brisbane, the hot favourites to win the Winfield Cup up against the Illawarra Steelers, fresh from their win over Auckland last Saturday. Cross now for Taylor, and Taylor keeps it low as he gets the ball to sit up back on the Manly 20-metre line, and John Hopewadi is there. He's run over the top of a couple of them, but a penalty has gone to Manly. North Sydney in front of the kicker, coming inside the 10.
There was a good ruling from Bill Harrigan. In fact, when Jason Taylor caught the football, he looked outside to see if they could run the ball. Everybody was in front, so he was forced to kick. And we'll see if they were in front. They were going, have a look here. Taylor catches. He looks to the outside. There's 3 players outside. In fact, maybe those 2 chasers were onside, Cleary and Roy.
Manly now through Mark Carroll, back to the halfway line. 3 the penalties, Manly's way. Roberts has been a tower of strength. Hasler now working it to the right for Lyons to turn it back to Hasler, and Hasler pushes it on. Menzies is out there, and Moore turns it. Hopewadi angles back. Nigel Roy, Florimo and Cleary all combining to make the tackle inside the 40-metre line. Lyons now Ridge and run around, and Lyons takes the tackle with Billy Moore. Centre of the park. Tuvey, Ridge. No change to that half-time score. This is the last tackle. Manly almost look as though they've dropped back a gear. Terry Hill taken, that's the turnover.
And that's probably the worst option Manly have taken all night on that occasion, because North's had them outnumbered. They still decided to come that way. On that occasion, the kick might have been the better option, but we're up here, they're out there, and they're doing what they think is best.
I remember in this game last year, Ian Roberts won our Man of the Match award, and all he could do was wrap a young back rower who'd come into the side called Steve Menzies. And he's just been absolutely outstanding tonight, Menzies. We've given plenty of applause to the likes of this man, Carroll and Gillespie. But overall, I think Menzies has been the most dynamic player out there.
Well, he might be the recipient of the Ansett Australia Man of the Match award. Ansett, of course, again with us on our Friday Night Football. $1,000 cash to the Man of the Match. One of the world's great airlines. As Hasler plays the ball now. It comes back and into the arms of Cunningham. Cunningham taken by his opposite number, Billy Moore, with an assist there from Gary Larson. 40 metres out from the North Sydney line. This second half hasn't risen to the heights of the first. Manly were on fire. I don't know that Norths are playing any better. I said it earlier, I tend to think Manly might have gone back a cog. Here they are trying to put Danny Moore through a gap. Right in the centre of the ground. 35 out, 5 tackles gone, and Ridge puts it high. Matt Sears is underneath it. The chase is there. Sears, well, he stood his ground. Terry Hill was storming down on him. And this is Nigel Roy, who again is tackled by Terry Hill. And a penalty has been given. He's penalised Hill for not standing directly in front of the man playing the ball. Hill not impressed originally. He settled down fairly quickly. The tap is to be taken now. Penalties level now, 4-all. Incidentally, next Friday night, South and Illawarra will be the match for Sydney viewers. That's at the football stadium, South and Illawarra. Brisbane viewers will see the local derby between the Broncos and the Crushers. Check your local guides for both of those telecast times.
Fatty, after the start of the footy show last night, you didn't get an invite to Eastern Creek on Sunday. In fact, you nearly killed 3 spectators.
Yeah, nearly got a couple, but no, I wouldn't be going anyway. I'll sit at home, watch it on telly for 5 minutes.
Toshak now. 38 out. Florimo. Taylor.
Oh, thank you.
Soden away from dumb half. A little kick looking for Florimo chasing. He got knocked over, but I prefer to think that he ran into the Manly player rather than the other way. Manly back on their own line. Unfamiliar territory for them. They've scarcely seen the area inside their 20-metre line. Probably a little bit more in the second half than the first. The poor old Bears, I'd love to know how long it took them in the game to actually get inside Manly's 20-metre zone. Manly now with Hopewati playing it inside the 20, and Roberts, there it is. Out comes the big claw, and he hands it down like one of those front-end loaders. Gillespie now picks up the dredge.
6 again signal by Bill Harrigan. Everything going Manly's way, even when they throw balls out the back. And now it's a Manly jersey. They come up with it. Carroll, another good charge up the middle of the ruck, picks up an easy 10.
Just talking about David Gillespie as we were in the first half when he was playing outstandingly. I might have been missing in action, but I tend to think that his ball skills have improved immensely since he's gone to Manly. Am I wrong, Fatty? Do you think he's improved that passively? Here's Menzies now, up the centre, Hasler's there. Forward pass ruled by Harrigan.
Oh, unlucky for the Eagles. Steve Menzies, Sterling reckon he's been terrific. The speed of the man. Another break made there, right up the middle. North's defence is just non-existent tonight. Just there, they're falling off tackles. Not even a hand laid on him there. Sears was the one, but it passed. Good decision by Bill Harrigan. Gillespie, he's always been able to offload. He runs to the line and he does the flop back, but he's getting out of that habit. That was a bad habit I thought he got into, and he's offloading now before the line and actually getting through the line to offload rather than just doing the flop backs.
A little bit like Les Davidson. Paul, he was guilty of the same thing, probably turning before the line, but this season he's hit it tremendously. Cronulla really have benefited from his charges. What about the stride of Steve Menzies? A bit like Farlap. He's got this enormous stride, impossible to tackle.
Strike me pink. If we're going heavy now, a stride like Farlap. Loose ball now, and Bill Harrigan orders 6 more tackles. Well, one of the great props of the modern era is on the sidelines, and let's get an opinion from him about David Gillespie.
Well, I just think that Dave's sort of experience, Bozo lets you mix up your game a little bit more. He was probably told to do different things at different times at other clubs, and it really helps if you've got someone in your pocket like Steve Menzies. They've got a great combination.
Yeah. Okay, block. Taylor now with a pass across the back. Sears then uses Cleary. He comes back, and plenty of sideways movement, but nothing going forward. Florimo changes that. then stands, the ball goes to ground, North come up with it, wasn't touched by Manly.
Should have been 6 again, I thought, if he's been able to clean up, which he did, Toshak. It's a knock on.
So no change to the half-time score.
On a current affair that can't...
Welcome back. The scrum at the 61st minute is won by Manly. Terry Hill striding out and able to get it away. Hopewadi down the left touchline. Roy is after him. They're not going to catch him. Larson simply runs down the ground to keep him on the left extremity. But John Hopewadi scores Manly's 4th try. Terry Hill played his part. 22-0.
Thank you, Terry Hill. John Hopewadi said, great work. Terry Hill is lean, mean. He's fined right down after his kangaroo two. He's lost something like 8 kilos. Look at the agility of the man. Nigel Roy slipped over, and from here on, Hopewadi, it's a feeling of BMW up against a Volkswagen, and he just strides away. Very easy. Larson valiant in defence there, trying to cover up, but oh well, Manly, great night for them.
Yeah, great effort from Gary Larson. Remember, it was a scrum win, so he travelled a lot of metres to get across. Terry Hill did a fantastic job. Got on the outside of Florimo, in between Florimo and Cleary. Was able to burst out of their tackles, wasn't held, and just popped up a simple pass to Hopewadi for his 4th try. He's their leading try scorer this year. Although he had to run a long way, he probably won't get too many easier ones than that. It was just a straight run to the line.
I think Terry Hill's running a lot more freely this season, isn't he? He's really getting on the outside of his man. He's bursting through tackles. He just looks a lot more mobile.
He's always struck me that he's the kind of player that could maybe carry a little bit too much weight at times. It's as streamlined as I've ever seen him. Obviously, the kangaroo tour played its part. He's had non-stop football for a long time, but he looks very fresh with it. And I think he looks a metre or two quicker than he did last year.
From the sideline, Matthew Ridge, front of the Duncan Thompson stand. Strikes it. Look at this. Have a look at this. That's magic. 24-0. Matt Ridge. Ridge is God. Well, they've told us that before.
Just have a look at the speed here of Terry Hill. Gets on the outside of Florimo, who can't match it with him. A lot of North Sydney players tripping over there. Cleary went down, so too Roy. Hopewadi's got a good turn of speed.
I'll tell you one thing that you didn't mention in regard to Terry is that there is an Australian centre jumper up for grabs. And maybe that's got something to do with Terry Hill's early preparation for 1995.
I suppose the fact he's at a club now that he wants to be at, I don't think he'd ever leave, man. He loves being there and being coached by the great Bonzo.
30.
Just doesn't miss an opportunity, does it?
Talk about hand out some raps. Ian Roberts just in a breather session. Now Menzies, he's supporting everything.
Another fine young player out there for Manly as well. Nick Kosef is in 27. There's Matthew Ridge. Puts the grubber down in behind Roy. Sears cleans up 20 out in his own line. Head centre field. But the chase, as it's been all night for the Seagulls, very, very good. Kosef leading the charge.
Soden appeals to the referee for a penalty, which is not forthcoming. And Fairley is tackled. 24-0 down. The timepiece got 15 minutes to go. Absolute rout here. I don't think anybody expected this. 4.5 start. North's on footy tab. I think everybody thought that was good. Taylor now. Cross for Fairley. A little handoff for Soden. Soden back, and Moore is there. And here's a gap, and then it's closed by Tuvey. Guillotine stuff from Tuvey. Penalty goes to the Bears. And he improves the mark. but kicking the ball away. And the Bears with a chance. Billy Moore taken by Hill. Hancock coming in as well.
He lost it.
The scrum will pack down 10 metres away from the Manly line. Billy Moore adding to the North Sydney woes, although now it doesn't probably matter all that much.
Well, that was on the first tackle, and maybe some prophetic words from Greg Florimo early in the season. Despite running up 50 points against the Gold Coast, he was more concerned that they allowed 10. Of course, in the Tooheys Challenge, Brisbane ran up an enormous score against them. Again, a match where you just don't expect these days North Sydney to allow a lot of points. They've done so on a couple of occasions as Hancock keeps the ball alive to Lyons. He's looking for Hopewadi. He's in the
space again and outside the 40-metre line.
Here's Sears.
Sears is after him. Sears chases Hopewadi, holds him down and makes him play the ball. Sears gave him a big start. Good effort by the young fullback. Kosef is with it now. Looking ominous for Manly. Across they go for Des Hasler to be pulled down 10 metres out. Away from Kosef. Lyons runs to the uprights. Back for Gillespie and then for Tuvey. Tuvey out of the tackle, goes for the line and puts it down. Tuvey gets a try. Manly get their fifth and they lead 28-0.
And that just about sums up North Sydney's night. They've had a night they want to forget very, very quickly. Jeff Tuvey there should have been tackled 2 or 3 times. A great bust, Hancock involved. And then this beautiful ball there from Lyons Hopewadi. Look, North players falling over. Nigel Roy fell over again. Matt Sears, beautiful tackle, came from behind. Always had Hoppo covered for pace. And then from here, you always thought that with the North Sydney defence stretched, they were going to score a try. But here, look, the ball goes to Tuvey. There's one attempt. And he just stepped through, well, straight through a big gap there. Not a hand laid on him.
Yeah, it always looked as though they'd score on the right-hand side. Mark Soden knew that he had to get up quickly, and if he could have affected the tackle on Tuvey, he'd done a great job. But unfortunately, Tuvey, too strong, pushed him off and straightened up. He set up one try earlier, the inside pass to Cliff Lyons. He gets one himself. On the far side of the field, Hopewadi's had a field night. Again, Nigel Roy losing his footing. And Craig Hancock getting involved from the blind side wing, just busted them at will.
Jeff Tuvey, 25 years of age. He played an Origin match in 1990, a couple of tests against Papua New Guinea in 1991. Joined Manly in 87, club captaincy in 1994. Matthew Ridge, who's eclipsed the 700 barrier tonight with 4 beautiful kicks, and that is number 5. He's keeping tempo with the try scorers. 30 points to 0 in Friday night football. The Eagles giving the Bears a shellacking. Welcome back to Bear Park. Thanks for joining us on Friday night football. Nothing we can do about the scoreboard, but there it is. Manly spoilt the Friday night of a lot of people, I would suspect. I think the greater percentage of league fans thought this was going to be the first, or maybe the second big encounter of the year. But it hasn't risen off the ground for the Bears. 27 is Kosef. Young Gartner did medial damage to a knee in last weekend's match. That's rotten luck for Daniel, because you've heard me say it before, I think he's right up there with the Kosefs. Maybe not the Menzies. Certainly he's a very good young back rower. Sears has been kept busy, and he's done nothing to alter anybody's opinion of him, I'm sure.
He's been outstanding again tonight. And again, harking back to that match in the Tooheys Challenge when Brisbane did the rout. Again, Matt Sears was the shining light that night. As Roy has had an unhappy 70 minutes. He's tackled, and Billy Moore can't beat the defence.
So this very big crowd starting to wave the white flag now as Billy Moore takes it towards the halfway line. The exits have become pretty popular. Taylor, grubber kick, Sears after it with Taylor. And it's with Matthew Ridge now for Manly. Hopewadi to clean up. Big Mark Carroll. Giant of a man. "30 metres away from their own line." This is Owen Cunningham. He's made 23 tackles. Carroll 23. Hasler 25. And then down to Roberts 18. Menzies 17. Gillespie 15. And Tuvey 21. Hamano is on the halfway line. He's lost it. There's that habit or that trait of Hamano. He often comes up empty.
And only 16 missed tackles for the Eagles tonight. That's what they would be very happy about, and they'll be ultra keen to keep the North Sydney side trialless. The defence has been great. It's been hurtful up front. Desperation, when that's been there, it's been there. It's all round. It's been a fantastic performance by them.
16 missed tackles. Manly double that for the Bears. 32.
32, yeah.
It's 2 times 16.
He had his shoes off, right?
So the Bears now with Taylor again switching it back across, and Wilson back for Taylor. Now Sears. Running action, unmistakable. Taylor on the inside. In fact, I was thrilled to be amongst that crowd as Soden gets to the 10-metre line that welcomed Les Johns to the Bulldogs match last Sunday. Taylor now. And there's a remarkable similarity between the running action of the Johnses, or the Les Johns, and Matthew Sears. As that ball rolls over the dead ball line and back out to the 20 for the restart. You would have been a bit young, I suppose, to have watched Les Johns in action.
Yeah, I know. I heard about him. Fantastic fullback for the Canterbury side. But, been many since. Graham Eady, of course.
Oh,
he's up there with the best.
I thought we'd get down to Manly eventually. Yeah, I thought we'd get back to Manly sooner or later, but I think the old-timers that saw and remember Les Johns would say, yeah, there is a similarity, not only in stature, but in the style of Matthew Sears with Les Johns.
If you're rating the North Sydney players out of 10 tonight, you'd give Matt Sears an 8. He's just been so good for them, and probably the next best you'd give a 6 to for the North Sydney side.
Hancock is with it now.
Not many Manly players under an 8. As Cliff Lyons comes up with one of the rare mistakes.
That's the thing, Pete. When in a game like this, normally you might find 3 or 4 stars who stand out from the rest of them, but it's been a great team effort tonight, and they've all put in. Just fantastic performance, especially in the forwards. They all did their part, and Lyons and two have controlled things, and Ridge at the back was great.
Tomorrow on Wide World of Sports, you see the Australian Motorcycle Grand Prix. 2 days of great action from Eastern Creek. 1 o'clock tomorrow, and then 11 a.m. on Sunday. And of course, during tomorrow, you'll see the magnificent racing from Rosehill Gardens. We come to our Golden Slipper Stakes on April the 8th, with the qualifying races tomorrow with the Winfield Classic. Florimo now tackled just inside the 20-metre line. And a penalty goes to Norths. Florimo up. He might take a quick tap, but Harrigan called them back to the mark, and Soden it is, away for Taylor, and then on for Moore. The pass intercepted. Could be Lyons. He'll be wishing those legs were a little bit younger. Sears rounds him up quickly. There's Terry Hill. Terry Hill goes down 2 metres from the line. David Hall, a great tackle. Hancock, he tries to do it. Still a metre from the line. Manly looking for their 6th try. Lyons scoops it away. Menzies gets it on. Ridge, he'll lean out. He takes the padding with him. Harrigan calls timeout.
Oh, and that saved North Sydney. They've still got 3 or 4 players coming back on side. Great chase from both Matt Sears and David Hall, saved tries.
That's been their best defender all night, the pad. Great tackle.
Well, they had a 10-man overlap to the left, the Eagles.
I couldn't work out what his ruling was. He didn't know whether Ridge was over the line or what. Lyons He puts the cross-field bomb up and Norths are with it. Jody Rudd to play it just out from his own line.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, at the conclusion of the play, would you please stay off
10 metres out now from their own line, but
quickly
just under 4 minutes of time remaining.
after the ground pass.
And
We ask you to please stay
Bob
off
Fulton will be
and leave by the exit.
absolutely wrapped in this performance.
Thank you very much.
Peter Louis, I don't know what old Peter's going to think. He probably thought to himself, I've got the best chance ever of making the grand final in first grade with this unit, and they have been demoralised by me.
Well, they won't panic, Ray. They know they've got the base of a very solid football team, and they'll be there. They've had a good start to the season with the first 2 wins. Maybe not the ideal preparation to come into a game against Manly, although they've had the same. But they've just come up against a very hot football team tonight. They'll regroup. First thing they'll work on this week will be defence. Up front next week, and they're going to be very, very tough opposition because good sides do bounce back from these kind of nights.
Yeah, next week mightn't be a good week to play North Sydney, eh? Who's got that job, by the way?
Absolutely no idea, Ray.
Well, would one of you mind looking up the program?
I'll tell you, mate, it's on the tip of my tongue. Auckland.
Talking of Auckland, our next trip across there will be on tonight fortnight for the Manly match. Danny Moore working with Cliff Lyons, and then back for Matthew Ridge. This, of course, weekend of rugby league ends. The matches played in the 5 groups of 4. Next weekend we start the round where each team will play one another once. This is Homano, 32 metres out from the North Sydney line. A lot of people quite confused about how, for instance, Perth would play Cronulla tomorrow and then again the following weekend. To answer that, the 5 groups of 4 with each other in their group to start the competition for the first 3 weeks, and then the main body of the draw starts next weekend. And it just so happened that Perth and Cronulla play each other back to back. So Manly just counting down the seconds. There's no drama on their faces. What would there be? 30 points to 0. Contenders for the Ansett man of the match. Many, I suppose, in the minds of Sterlo and Fatty. Gillespie was great early. Roberts was strong. Nobody could deny that Tuvey has been brilliant. Hill. And, of course, Menzies. And Blocker will have that man of the match for us after the game as Taylor rolls it to the halfway line, keeping it shallow, hoping for a regather, but Hopewadi. The player just on his side of the halfway. Bit of a problem there for John Hopewadi, an ankle it seems. Kosef is tackled on the halfway line. The siren is there. And for North Sydney fans, probably it was a welcome sound. 30-0. Menzies discards the headgear. A hot night inside that, but he's put on a hot performance outside it, hasn't he? 30 points to 0 and 5 tries to 0. Hasler, Lyons, Menzies, Hopewadi and Tuvey, and Ridge, an immaculate goal-kicking performance tonight. None of them was simple. 5